The people who witnessed your embarrassing moment forgot it within minutes. But you've been replaying it for years. Your brain has watched that scene 1,000 times. Why does your mind torture you with moments everyone else has forgotten? And how do you finally make it stop? Think about it. That thing you said at the dinner party 3 years ago. That awkward introduction where you fumbled your words. That time you waved back at someone who wasn't waving at you. The people who saw it moved on with their lives immediately. They had their own problems, their own embarrassments, their own moments to forget. But your brain kept the footage, filed it away, and now it plays it on repeat at the worst possible moments. You're about to fall asleep. Here it comes. You're in the shower, relaxed. Here it comes again. You're having a good day, feeling confident. Your brain says, remember that time you humiliated yourself. This isn't a glitch. This is a pattern. And Rumi understood it 8 centuries ago. He called it the prison of the past self. The way we chain ourselves to moments that no longer exist. The way we keep alive what the world has already buried. Rumi wrote, "Why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open?" The prison he's talking about isn't made of walls. It's made of memories. Memories you keep replaying. Memories you refuse to release. Memories that hold you hostage while everyone else walks free. But here's what Rumi understood that most people miss. You're not replaying these moments because they were important. You're replaying them because you haven't forgiven yourself. Let that sink in. The embarrassment isn't the problem. The lack of self-forgiveness is. When you do something embarrassing, a wound opens. If you forgive yourself, the wound heals. But if you don't, the wound stays open, and your brain keeps returning to it, trying to process what was never resolved. Every replay is your mind asking, can we please close this? Can we please let this go? Can we please move on? But you won't let it. You keep the case open. You keep investigating. You keep looking for what you should have said, what you should have done, how it should have gone. And so the loop continues. Year after year, replay after replay. Rumi saw people doing this their entire lives, carrying moments from decades ago, still cringing at something from childhood, still embarrassed by something no one else remembers. He said, "These pains you feel are messengers. Listen to them. The pain of embarrassment is a messenger. But the message isn't you're terrible or you failed, or everyone thinks you're stupid. The message is, forgive yourself so we can close this file." That's all your brain wants. Closure, permission to let go. A signal from you that says, it's okay, we can move on now. But you never give that signal. Instead, you judge yourself again. You cringe again. You feel the shame again. And your brain thinks, okay, this must still be important. Let me keep reminding you. It's a cycle that feeds itself, and it will never stop until you break it. So how do you break it? First, understand what's actually happening. Your brain has a threat detection system. It's designed to remember dangerous situations so you can avoid them in the future. The problem is, it can't tell the difference between physical danger and social danger. To your brain, embarrassment feels like a threat to survival. In ancient times, being rejected by your tribe meant death. So your brain evolved to take social mistakes very seriously. That cringe you feel, that's your ancient survival system screaming, don't do that again, or you'll be cast out and die alone. But you won't die. You won't be cast out. The moment passed. Everyone moved on. The only one still stuck there is you. Rumi understood this without knowing the neuroscience. He observed that people treated social wounds like physical wounds, except they kept reopening them instead of letting them heal. He wrote, "The wound is the place where the light enters you, but you've been picking at the wound, not letting it heal, not letting the light in, just picking, replaying. The second step is to recognize that memory is not reality. When you replay an embarrassing moment, you're not experiencing reality. You're experiencing a distorted reconstruction of something that no longer exists. Your memory isn't accurate. It's edited. It's exaggerated. It's filtered through years of self. The moment you remember is not the moment that happened. It's a worst-case version your brain created to maximize the lesson. Think about it. In your memory, everyone was watching. In reality, most people weren't paying attention. In your memory, it lasted forever. In reality, it was seconds. In your memory, everyone judged you. In reality, they were too busy thinking about themselves. Rumi said, don't be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth. The embarrassing memory is a story, not truth, not reality. A story you've told yourself so many times you think it's fact. But it's not. It's a myth. A horror story your brain wrote to keep you safe. You have the power to rewrite that story, to see it differently, to recognize that it wasn't as bad as you remember, that people weren't as focused on you as you think, that the moment was human, not catastrophic. The third step is to practice active release. When the memory comes, don't fight it. Don't try to push it away. That only makes it stronger. What you resist persists. Instead, do something counterintuitive. Welcome it. Say to yourself, "Oh, this memory again. Hello. I know why you're here. You're trying to protect me, but I don't need protection from something that happened years ago. I forgive myself for that moment. I release it. We can close this file now." This sounds simple, maybe even silly, but it works, because you're finally giving your brain what it wanted all along. Closure, permission, forgiveness. Wrote, "Be like a tree and let the dead leaves drop." The embarrassing memory is a dead leaf. It served its purpose. It taught you something, but now it's dead. It's in the past, and you're still carrying it like it's alive. Let it drop, not by forcing it, by allowing it, by forgiving, by closing. The fourth step is to flood your brain with perspective. Here's an exercise. Think of an embarrassing moment someone else had, something you witnessed, someone tripping, saying something awkward, making a mistake. Can you remember one? Probably not, or if you can, you have to really search for it. And even then, you don't think less of that person. You probably forgot it existed until just now. This is how everyone else views your embarrassing moments. They don't remember. They don't care. They're too busy replaying their own moments to think about yours. You are not as important in other people's minds as you think you are. This isn't an insult. It's freedom. It means your embarrassments are not being catalogued and judged by the world. They exist only in your head. You're the only one still watching. Rumi said, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." You contain multitudes. You are vast, and you're reducing yourself to one tiny moment, one drop of embarrassment in an ocean of experiences. Why are you defining yourself by the drop when you are the entire ocean? The fifth step is to reframe embarrassment as evidence of growth. If you cringe at something you did in the past, it means you've grown. It means you're not the same person who made that mistake. It means you've evolved. The cringe is actually a good sign. It shows distance between who you were and who you are. Rumi wrote, "Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself." The person who made that embarrassing mistake was yesterday's version of you, clever but still learning. Today's version is wiser, and the proof is in the cringe. You wouldn't cringe if you hadn't grown. So instead of feeling shame, feel gratitude. Thank that past version for learning the lesson. Thank that moment for teaching you something, and then release it, because the lesson is complete. The sixth step is the hardest but most important. You have to stop demanding perfection from yourself. The reason you can't let go of embarrassing moments is because you believe you shouldn't have made them. You believe you should be flawless. You believe mistakes are unacceptable. But that's an impossible standard. You're human. Humans are awkward. Humans say wrong things. Humans trip, fumble, and embarrass themselves constantly. This is not a bug. This is a feature, Rumi said. Be crumbled, so wildflowers will come up where you are. Being crumbled is not failure, it's fertilizer. Your embarrassing moments are the soil from which you grow. Without them, you'd be smooth and polished, but also empty and untested. Every person you admire has embarrassing moments they replay. Every confident person you see has cringed at themselves at 2 a.m. This is universal. You are not uniquely flawed. You are normally human. When you accept that embarrassment is part of life, the replays lose their power. You stop treating each moment as evidence of your failure, and start seeing them as evidence of your humanity. Here's what happens when you finally let go. The memories might still come, but they won't hurt. They'll visit like old acquaintances, not like attackers. You'll acknowledge them and they'll pass. No cringe, no heat in your face, no spiral of shame. You'll have space in your mind for new things, creativity, joy, presence. The bandwidth you were using to replay old moments will be freed up for actual living. And maybe, most importantly, you'll stop creating new material for the replay machine. When you forgive yourself quickly, you don't accumulate new embarrassments to torture yourself with later. You process, release, and move on. Rumi spent his life teaching people how to free themselves from their own minds. He watched people build prisons out of memories and then complain about being trapped. He said, "Why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open?" The door is open. It's always been open. The embarrassing moments don't lock you in. Your unforgiveness does. Your perfectionism does. Your belief that you should be flawless does. Drop the belief. Drop the judgment. Drop the dead leaves and walk out of the prison you built for yourself. The world forgot your embarrassing moment years ago. Isn't it time you did too? But let me give you one more tool. Something practical for when the replay starts again tonight. Because it will. Old habits don't die immediately. When the memory surfaces, try this. Instead of cringing and pulling away, lean in. Watch the memory like you're watching a movie about someone else. Observe it with curiosity instead of judgment. Ask yourself, what was that person afraid of? What were they trying to do? What did they learn? When you view the memory as an observer instead of the victim, something shifts. The emotional charge decreases. The shame loses its grip. You see a human being doing their best in a moment that didn't go as planned. That human being deserves compassion, not endless punishment. Rumi wrote, "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there." That field is where you can meet your past self. Not to judge them, not to cringe at them, but to understand them, to forgive them, to thank them for surviving that moment and learning from it. There's also something important about sleep. You've noticed that these memories often attack at night, when you're trying to sleep, when your defenses are down. This isn't random. During the day, your mind is occupied. You have tasks, distractions, things to focus on. But at night, when everything goes quiet, your brain starts processing. It pulls up unfinished business. And if you have embarrassing moments that were never properly closed, they rise to the surface. The solution isn't to distract yourself more. The solution is to close the files during the day. So there's nothing to process at night. Take 5 minutes each day to consciously forgive yourself for anything that's bothering you. Any mistakes, any awkward moments, any regrets. Actively close those files before your brain tries to process them at 2 a.m. Rumi said, "Don't grieve. Anything you lose comes round in another form." The confidence you lost in that embarrassing moment, it comes back. The self-respect that took a hit, it returns. Nothing is permanently lost. You've just been holding on to the loss instead of welcoming the return. Here's the truth. Nobody tells you about embarrassing moments. They make you relatable. They make you human. They make you approachable. The person who never makes mistakes, never fumbles, never says the wrong thing, that person is intimidating, unapproachable, even unlikable. But the person who trips sometimes, who says something awkward, who admits they don't have it all figured out, that person is lovable. That person is real. That person is someone others can connect with. Your embarrassing moments are not your weakness. They're your authenticity. They're proof that you're a real human being living a real life, not a perfect robot performing for approval. He embraced this. He wrote poetry about his flaws, his mistakes, his moments of foolishness. He didn't hide them. He celebrated them as part of being human. He said, "Ignore those that make you fearful and sad, that degrade you back towards disease and death." The voice that replays your embarrassing moments is the voice that degrades you. It makes you fearful. It makes you sad. It keeps you small. That voice is not your friend. That voice is not protecting you. That voice is a bully living in your head, and it's time to stop listening to it. You are not your worst moment. You are not that one thing you said. You are not that awkward introduction, or that failed joke, or that time you walked into a glass door. You are the sum of thousands of moments, brilliant moments, kind moments, brave moments, and yes, some embarrassing moments too, but they're all part of the whole, and the whole is beautiful. Rumi saw this wholeness in everyone he met. He didn't focus on people's mistakes. He focused on their light, and he taught that we should view ourselves the same way. He wrote, "You are not meant for crawling, so don't. You have wings. Learn to use them and fly." You've been crawling through life, dragging your embarrassing moments behind you, but you have wings. You were made for flying, and the only thing stopping you is the weight of moments that should have been released years ago. Tonight, when you're lying in bed and that memory comes, try something different. Don't cringe. Don't fight. Don't spiral. Just say, "I forgive myself. That person did their best. I release this moment. We can close the file now." And then breathe. Let the memory pass like a cloud. It came. You acknowledged it, and now it's going. Do this enough times, and something miraculous happens. The memories stop coming as often. The replays become less frequent. The cringe fades. The shame dissolves. One day you realize you haven't thought about that moment in months. It lost its power. You took back control. This is freedom, not the absence of embarrassing memories, but the ability to let them pass without pain. Rumi found this freedom, and now the path is open for you. Walk it. You've suffered enough. It's time to let go.